There's the record, and there's that record, and you're good to go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Trash Pandas. We took a little hiatus for us to go back to work and do some, stuff around our own lives. But we're back, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. So don't worry. We'll be back weekly, and we'll keep you updated on when exactly that is. So without further ado, I am Lauren, and this is my co-host,
Lindsay.
And we are so excited to be back and actually talk to you guys about some stuff. It's been a couple of weeks and a lot has happened. So before we do anything else, we're going to go into our normal, what have you been watching this week or this past month?
Oh my gosh.
Practically.
So much stuff. So first, Real Housewives of New York City is wrapping up. They just had their season finale, and actually last night, last night just their first part of the reunion just aired. And it's really interesting because this is the first Real Housewives reunion that they're back together in one room after COVID. So everything is super spread out. They come in there with their masks. And Real Housewives of New York, if you're not into the Real Housewives, you need to get into New York at least, because it is the gift
at the very least.
It is the gift that keeps on giving. It is definitely hands down, bar none, the best Housewives franchise. They are cutthroat. They are raging alcoholics. They are hilarious, witty. They make you want to scream at your TV. They are so good. And
so are they like the trashiest of all of them?
I don't know if I would say,
or is there just like the most stuff that happens?
It's just like the most interesting stuff. Like they're the most dynamic cast. And I'm not talking about, they are not diverse. They're a bunch of upper crust, wealthy white women. So it's not diverse. So that is where the show is lacking for sure. But they just are they have the most dynamic storylines, and the stuff that they get mad at each other for and the underhand comments to one another. And it's just so good. You're like, they all actually hate each other. And they're on this cast together, and it's amazing. And it's so good. And so the reunion started out, and they all started going after this one housewife, Ramona, who is a classic. She's been there from the beginning. It's going on it's maybe 11th or 12th season. I
didn't realize how long.
Yeah, it has been on for a long time, and she's been there from the beginning. And she is just this awful. During COVID, she was down in Florida, out at the bars. They all call her out for it, and she's like, I don't wear a mask at the ocean. I don't wear a mask at the ocean. Okay. She's just the worst, the worst. And so this is how the reunion starts out. Not even stuff that happened in their season. They're just calling out stuff that happened in between. And it's so magical. And Andy Cohen, who is the godfather of all the housewives, he's from New York. So I just feel there's a certain element to it. This is his home. And so he's more invested in the show even.
Right.
I don't know. It's amazing.
Now, does he do all of the shows?
Yes.
Okay, so he's the spokesperson for Real Housewives.
Well, yeah. So he does all of the reunions for the Housewives. And, he always says, I'm not in charge of the firing or the hiring of the Housewives. Andy, come on. I see
even
you.
I know that's not
true. I
see
see you, Andy.
It.
He has a lot more power than he, pretends that he has. He's wonderful. He was one of the first celebrities that had COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had COVID.
Oh, you know what? I think I did see that, and I was like, who is that guy?
Yeah, he had COVID in March. And so he's at this reunion, and when they're all calling out Ramona, Ramona tested positive for the antibodies.
Okay.
So she said she already had it, and Andy was like, well, that doesn't mean you can't get it again. you still have to take precautions. You can
Right.
still be spreading this. You can still be, so he kind of calls her out on that, which I thought was like,
Awesome.
you know, I mean, he could call her out on a lot more because she is like, she is literal human trash. She's the worst.
I love that.
But you guys, oh my God, please, like, if you need something to watch, go back and watch. All of the seasons are epic. Like, even in the very beginning, it starts off hot. It's good. Like, all the seasons are epic. Go back, rewatch the whole series. It's so, so good. The other thing I've been watching is Barry on HBO.
Oh, you know what? I've heard about that. I haven't watched it.
I am addicted to it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch it now.
So it is Bill Hader, and he is an ex-Marine who is now a contracted hitman. And he decides he doesn't want to be a hitman anymore. He wants to be an actor. And so he's in LA and he's part of like this acting group, but he can't really get away from the hitman lifestyle. And so he keeps like getting sucked into like these really bad situations, but he's still like trying to pursue being an actor. And you would not think it works because you look at Bill Hader and you're like, okay, ex-Marine,
Right.
contract killer, like give me a break. But for some reason it works.
Okay.
And it's just such a good show. It's dark comedy. So it's funny, you know, without like being in your face, like over the top funny, but it's like that dark humor. And there's only 2 seasons of it. I hope they make another season. It is so, so good. For some reason, when I watched it, I kept thinking like about like these Dexter kind of elements.
I loved
to it.
Dexter, except for like only up until like season 4.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That,
after
like,
season
it's just
4,
too
it
much,
sucked.
but-
Yeah, the Trinity after the Trinity killer. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that was season 4.
So there's like some kind of like Dexter element to it where I feel like, you know, Michael C. Hall, you wouldn't think of him as like a serial killer or like this
Right.
vigilante. And that's kind of how I feel like Bill Hader, like you don't necessarily like picture him in this role, but like for whatever reason it works and it's perfect. And I highly, highly recommend it. It is hilarious and just really good.
Okay, so for me, the things I've been watching, this is like that weird part in like the seasons of everything where like you kind of go into like, even with 90 Day, you go into like the mid-season break, and then other stuff is starting at the same time. So I'm really excited for Bob's Burgers. I'm sorry. It starts on, I think it's September 27th. I could be wrong. I know it's at the end of September. I've been really excited about it. So I've been like going back and watching all the Bob's Burgers, which you know I watch on like a constant repeat.
I mean, I love Bob's Burgers, but I'm nowhere near.
When I stay the night at her house, I'm always like, I have to turn this down because that do probably wakes her up like a million times over. But I am a huge Bob's Burgers fan, and they were signed on for another season, which they're on season 11 now, which is crazy.
That
to
is
think about.
crazy.
It's crazy. So, but you know what I love about Bob's Burgers, and like with just when it comes to like seasons and stuff, they are on at that very special time where normally there's like the Super Bowl and Halloween happens and Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so they end up doing like these kind of like breakups of all of the episodes. So it'll be like they play an episode and then there's 2 weeks, and then they play another episode and then there's 3 weeks, and then they'll play another episode. So when you watch it, there's only like a maximum of like 5 months before you see another episode. You know what I mean? Like that's like their season is kind of like broken up that way. And I love it. And I think it's so funny. It's so clever. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. I'm so excited for it to come back. Other than that, I've been watching the usuals. I've been watching, you know, Married at First Sight, which I'm in love with. There's a current season going right now. I finally got my sister to watch it. She's watching it right now. She's watching a couple seasons back. Married at First Sight has a new season going on right now, and it's New Orleans. And there are some really cool couples in there, and then there's some really shitty ones too, which they always have. But there's one couple that I just cannot stop loving and watching, and they are just very like eclectic and weird. And
is it the doctor, the girl that's a doctor?
No, the nurse. She's like a nurse practitioner. No, that's not the couple I'm talking about. There's another couple where the girl is, I think the guy is like a musician or something along those lines. Oh wait, no, you're talking about the girl that's like going into, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I forgot about that.
Medical
She
school.
just went into, she just signed on for her residency.
Yeah.
And so like they just got married 2 weeks ago. And now she's going on to her residency and we don't know where she's going to go. And like this guy has to decide whether or not he's going to like follow her or stay behind. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even like realize that.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to watch them because they have like this weird, like it just works and they've met each other before.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's something there. And then there's these other couples where I'm like, I don't know if they're going to work out. There's like one couple that is just like fighting constantly. And this girl is like a total bitch all the time. They even show like her speaking to the producers and stuff. And she's like, I'm not going to do this. Like, fuck that. I'm not going to do this. And it's like, just play along. They're giving you ideas. They're not saying you have to do it exactly this way. They're just giving you ideas. And like the way that they like film it and everything, it's at least genuine. They're showing that they actually do like feed them stuff too.
Well, so I love when reality shows break that third
yes,
wall.
absolutely.
And that's not really something that we see in 90 Day at all. But like in the Housewives, they've been doing that a lot recently where they break that third wall.
Yeah.
And in the finale of Real Housewives of New York City this season, we see one of the housewives kind of freak out on a cameraman.
Okay.
And so it just kind of lets
I love that.
It lets you in to know like
I
their
love
real
that.
personality. Like you're like, okay, this wasn't scripted. Like she is for real.
Yeah, she's actually pissed off. And like
Yeah.
that's one thing I really like about Married at First Sight is that as much as I understand that most reality shows are somewhat scripted, they are at least honest about it, and then they go off of that and they'll allow people to see like the inside of that.
Right.
And I think that's like super great to be able to be like, okay, yeah, they literally gave them shit to do, which we knew though. Like they give them like, here's note cards from them, ask each other these questions. But this is like one of those situations where it's like, you want us to have a party and you want us to play like leapfrog or like musical chairs, and she's freaking out about it. But it also shows the side of it where the guy is just like, you're super controlling and you are, you know,
Right.
freaking out over nothing and you're rude to people.
Yeah.
And honestly, if that was me, I'd be like, I'm done, because I that's like a red flag to me. If you don't tip servers,
Yes.
if you're rude to your
Yes.
server,
How
anything
you
like that,
treat
what a
strangers.
turn off.
Yeah,
What a fucking
Yes,
turn off.
absolutely, 100%. How you treat strangers is a big thing for me.
Absolutely.
So how you treat your server, your bartender, those people that, you know.
I'm performing like a task for you and a service for you.
Mhm.
And I understand that part of my job is to be extremely flexible and understanding and, you know, like accommodating.
Yeah.
But my job isn't to be run down by you
Right.
and told what a piece of shit I am and treated like shit. That's not okay.
I mean, I don't even like speaking rude to like customer service people over the phone. Like when AT&T is being horrendous and awful, like I'm like, I know you're just paid to take this phone call,
Right.
and this isn't your fault. Like I'm
it's
over,
not
like
you,
I'm
it's
like,
your above.
yeah, like you know, it's like that's what they're paid for. They're not paid to hear you like deal with your attitude, and it's not going to get you anywhere. At the end of the day, I mean,
No.
a little bit of anger might in some situations, but I feel like for the most part, it like always goes back to that thing, like you win more bees with honey. Like I know
Right.
that's so cliche, but like really at the end of the day,
No,
I
but
feel
you
like
do.
people are gonna like be way more responsive to you when you're
I've seen
a
that.
kind person.
There was like a
No,
meme that I
duh.
saw about like bartenders, and it was like the customer is always right, and then underneath it said, but the bartender decides who's still a customer.
Right.
And to me, I'm like, that is absolutely true. I do not have to do anything for you, and I will be accommodating as long as you are talking to me in a respectful manner. As soon as you start talking down to me, then it's like, we're done. I have nothing to say to you. Fuck off. Mind your business. Go somewhere else. I can't help you.
Or I'm always like, have you not seen the movie Waiting?
Right.
Like,
Right.
you don't
Not
mess,
that we spit in your
Yeah,
drinks
but,
or
like,
your
you-
food or
you don't mess with the people that serve you your food. Like,
just don't mess with anybody, actually.
don't mess
Just
with
be
anybody.
a human being.
Just be a kind
awesome.
human being. Like,
So other
what
than
I-
that,
Yeah.
I also have been watching Marrying Millions, which I was like not super about at first.
Just
And
my
now,
face.
I know. Actually, now we're like into another season and I'm starting to get into it. I'm starting to understand it. I'm starting to think like there is actually one girl who I feel like is not doing it for the millions of dollars because like her boyfriend refuses to pay for anything. They go Dutch on everything. And he's talking about getting married and still is like, we go Dutch. And he says, I'm nobody's bank.
What is Marrying Millions on?
I think it's on I don't know. I watched it on Philo. I'm sorry, guys. I watched it on Philo, and I want to say it's like Oxygen or or like one of those types of,
Yeah.
But I think they're on the second season, maybe even on the third season. I'm only on the second season, and they have like a current season going, and I think that's the one I'm watching. But they are like there's different couples, and then there's couples returning from the season before. And some of them I'm like, yeah, this dude was honestly with this woman for her money, or this girl is with this guy for his money. But there's one couple that, like I said, they go Dutch on everything, which to me is like kind of weird because even my boyfriend and I go Dutch on a lot of stuff. Or like I'll pay one time and then he pays the next time. Or like if he buys our movie tickets, I'll buy our snacks or like whatever. He never asks me to though. It's like out of respect. And this girl is like, I've been with this guy for like 2 years and he's never paid for anything. And he like, even though they're talking about getting married, he still has like zero, like I'm gonna, like we have to split everything evenly, which some people are like upset about. And to me, I'm like, yo, if you have like an understanding and you have decided that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just being honest and saying exactly what you want. All right.
90 days.
We've had some time.
Happily ever after.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So the first couple happily ever after that we saw last is Asuelu and Kalani. And Kalani is basically like, seems like she's far over the relationship at this point. Like she's already contemplating divorce.
She talks to her mom and says like, you know, if this is how it's going to be, then I don't want to be married anymore. And to me, just my personal opinion, and my boyfriend and I have talked about this before, where I'm just like, we don't ever talk about breaking up. If we were married, we wouldn't talk about divorce, anything like that. If we want to be together still. And the second that you bring that up, then it lets me know that you're not in it anymore.
Yeah, like don't bring up divorce unless it's actually like
I agree with that. I think that she shouldn't be saying stuff like that.
But I think she really is at her breaking point. And so this all came to a head after their trip to Seattle when they went to go see Asuelo's family, and they kept basically harassing them for money. And even like his sister like said that she was going to beat Kalani up and like all this stuff. Like it was super.
There was like this awkward moment where like Asuelo is talking to his mom and he's like, what am I going to do? Because we haven't said this in like 3 weeks. So we have to go through basically a month worth of stuff and we'll try and make it as quick as possible. But at one point, Asuelo is talking to his mom and he says, I can't give you money because if I do, then my kids will starve. They'll die.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have money to give you. And he's crying and Kalani is sitting there and his mom is still like, I want my money. Yeah, I want my money. And that's super fucked up and I feel bad for them. So Asuelu and Kalani, you know, continue to fight about this.
Yeah. So that all happened in Seattle. So when they get back, Kalani is like, okay, well, I'm going to try everything possible before I actually file for a divorce, just so I can tell our kids, like, I fought for the marriage, which is respectful. So
totally.
She sets up a therapy appointment for them. And she is talking to Asuelo and she's like, I think we should go to therapy. And he's like, Who does therapy? White people?
That was my favorite part. White people?
White people?
She's like, no, every people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. all
everyone does
people.
it.
So, basically in Samoan culture, he was like, we don't go to therapists. There's a pastor that deals with marriage issues, and he says, and crazy people. So, which, I mean, like, a pastor serves as a counselor. A lot of times
That's true.
that's not unheard of. But anyway, so they go to see a therapist under the condition that there's a translator, a Samoan translator there for Asuelu, which I was like, okay, that's totally fair, because
That's respectable.
I think a lot of their issues come down to obviously communication. And so they go see this therapist, and Asuelu is explaining to the therapist the first time he sees Kalani, he thought that she was younger because, American girls, they're bigger. And the translator's like, that's a compliment, because in Samoan culture, if you're bigger, it means that you're wealthy and you're well fed, and like all
Your
this.
family takes care of
It
you.
was it's so funny just to see like the different cultural perceptions of even women's bodies. He articulates that he kind of feels like less of a man when Kalani tells him, like, we can't give your family that, because he feels like he should be able to provide for both his own family and his mom and dad. And then he goes on to explain, like, in Samoan culture, which actually is really interesting. We heard this from Andre, but it was just translated completely wrong. But the same kind of concept where the father is the head and the mother is the neck. And so the father is looked at as like the head of the household, but the mom can turn the head. And so the translator kind of reiterates that.
That was translated way
better.
This is the first time in like translator history
on 90 Day.
That this actually is being translated properly.
Yes.
And I feel like every time that they ever have like any kind of translator, it's kind of like somebody that's just kind of loosely.
It's always a shit show. I mean, it always ends up making problems a million times worse. But this time it actually helped.
Right.
Like, wow.
Look at Jihoon and Devin.
Right. Oh,
I mean, she's like.
You can't call that a translator. That should be called like the fuck up every conversation reader. Right. Like it's not literally.
It's like it's a widowmaker. It's like somebody is gonna die tonight. They're not gonna be married. Somebody's gonna die tonight. It's a widowmaker.
The divorce machine. They should call it. Ruin every relationship machine.
Every relationship.
So anyway, so the translator does a good job of kind of communicating to Kalani like Samoan cultural expectations and how Asuelu is feeling. And you could tell like in the middle of the therapy session, like there's still love there, and
they're holding hands.
Yeah, and like they're definitely like tender towards each other, and it's sweet, whatever, even though he can be a big pile of dog doo-doo. But so but what I think the therapist really summed it up the best was like what they need to decide is the clash of the cultures. Like he said, Kalani comes from this egalitarian culture where people are expected to be treated equal, and Asuelu comes from this culture where women are expected to be submissive. Mm-hmm. And so they really just need to come to some kind of understanding, or it's never going to work. I mean,
he suggests that they like sit down and basically like write down, this is what my duties are for our family, and these are what your duties are for our family. And just to me, I'm like, if that's something that they're gonna do, and he's gonna say that he has to be like the breadwinner, or he has to be like the one that like brings in the bacon, so to speak, then he needs to actually get like a real job.
Yeah, and you have to stop relying on her family for stuff.
And that might be a little bit harder than he thinks,
because
considering that there is a huge language barrier.
Because of the fact that her family is more established in America, like she's already coming from a place of like power in the relationship.
Yeah, that's so true.
So where I feel like if he's really wanting to make those decisions and really be looked at as more of like the head of the household, you really need to then step up, and you have to do more than what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And I understand that's hard because he's an immigrant and he's new to America, and it's going to be hard for him to find a job. He barely speaks the language. So there's going to be that power dynamic that it's going to be really hard to overcome.
I feel like a lot of these couples leading into like the mid-season break, I can see a lot more of like both sides rather than when at the beginning I was like this person versus
I was like
person.
Asuelo is awful. Like for the longest time I was like, even taking into account those cultural things, like I was still like, he's still awful, but now you're right. Like
I'm starting to see more and more
like,
his side.
Right.
As much as I'm like, there's this like cultural breakdown and I don't believe in this and I do believe in that. There is that cultural difference, and they do need to like come to an agreement. And a lot of these couples, I wish that they would. I feel like it's great that they went and did this because
everyone needs therapy.
I'm not going to say I left the session because I wasn't there, but I left the session feeling like they had like a really good understanding of what each other was trying to say and what they want and what they need. I feel like that was really good for them.
Okay, so next couple, really boring. Let's fly through this one because we're already at 9.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so Michael and Angela. So she's in Nigeria. They went out for their couples, their co-bachelor and bachelorette party. Terrible idea.
First of all, don't do that.
Right. Michael's friends brings Angela and her best friend to a club, and there's girls dancing all over the place, and we already know Angela's reaction to Michael being around other women. Then add alcohol into the situation, then add in a girl in the club who is twerking and her butt cheeks are flapping together, and Michael literally he's in the club and he literally just like does like he's
maybe
like glances, because how do you not look at that? Like, I'm sorry, like
I would look at it,
dude, like how do you not see that? Like, what do you expect him to have permanent blinders on to every situation? Like
he like has to like never ever look at
like
anyone,
just look at
again.
Angela. But I'm like, he wasn't even like lusting after her, like it was literally a glance, and she freaks out. And of course, it's this big scene. They leave the club,
and she doesn't know if she wants to get married anymore.
I'm done.
Surprise.
I'm done,
Michael.
And so the next day, they meet up because they didn't spend the night together. She went with her friend, and so the next day they meet up, and Michael is so slick. He's so smooth.
Knows.
Although it could have blown up in his face like the cake situation, but he brought her bridal bouquet, which she had like specially ordered, that had all of these flowers in it representing her mom and her grandchildren and their birth months, and this very symbolic bouquet that she felt was very, very important. So he brings her this, and he's like, this is the first thing he pulls out of the bag. He's like, look what I have. And she's like, damn it, Michael, no, I can't be mad at you. And she can't be mad at him because it's perfect. He knows her. He knows her.
He knows.
And so she's not pissed anymore. They're going on with the wedding. And then the next day is the wedding day. Oh, yeah, he farts in her face. And
he says it's tradition. I love his sense of, okay, when I first met Michael, I was like,
I thought he was a dimwit.
He's an asshole, right? Like, okay, I don't know if you guys remember, but
the Trump
Speedo, but also she was like, oh, you got a blowjob as payment for a taxi ride, and he's like, yep, I did. And I was like, this is over now, right? And nope, 2 years later, we're still on it. He is
a little bit.
At least don't tell her. Why would you admit?
But you still brought her to a club where girls were flapping their booties in his face.
I know. As soon as I saw that, I wrote down in my notes, I was just like, there's girls around and Angela's pissed.
It's like
shocking.
It's like Pretty Woman. big mistake.
Big
Huge mistake.
It's like we already know, like this has been what? She's on her third season now, fourth season now, third season now.
I don't know.
Whatever fucking season. Enough seasons for me to know that bitch don't like no other women. So why are we still doing this? And also, let's see, 3 seasons or 4 seasons in, that means that there's at least 2 years there. Why are we still
not
asking if we're gonna get married every day, every fucking day without fail? She's like, I don't know if I want to marry him. You probably shouldn't marry him, bro. Like, well, what if he can't come to America? That's a good question. Maybe you should ask somebody what happens if he can't come to America. Like,
yeah, they're endearing though.
They've grown on me too. At first I hated them, and now I'm like,
oh my God, I would fast forward through their parts. I was just like, I can't with her. Like, she's abusive.
Like David and Lana, I have to like.
But anyways, but like I would just be like, we have to get through this. Like, I can't. I'm done. It's the same old story. I'm done, Michael, and big fight, and then they're back together.
Big fight, back together.
Like, it's the same BS.
Constantly.
So anyways, they're finally getting married. So she's in her wedding dress. She has a blue bra on under her white wedding dress, and she's holding her cigarettes in her boobs.
She's like, hold my cigarette. Or no, I'm gonna smoke this cigarette while you get all my stuff together, Michael.
She's
like
breaking out, which I think is like, it's kind of sweet. Like
she's being a bridezilla.
Well,
like,
she
enjoying it.
She seems like legitimately like bridal, like,
I agree.
Nervousness and like, how is this all gonna
She's
go
like,
down?
I'm 53. I'm gonna fucking get married. I'm like, girl, do you. Do it. I want you to.
So anyways, we see them go to get married. And well, you know what I really liked is that everyone there was wearing like white.
Yeah.
And I was like, in America, that is so taboo and like awful. Like, you do not do that. But like in Nigeria, everyone was wearing white. And I was like, I think that's kind of cool.
My wedding dress is going to be like a blush pink, so everyone can wear white if they want.
Right. Like, I would love to wear a color, and
I'm going to wear like a
very,
very blush
because
pink.
we know I'm not like some.
Nope. Are you a virgin?
Dainty flower first. I didn't want to say it, but like, come on.
I mean, I have my flower.
I can't. Oh my God, Grandma. I hope you're not watching this. Okay.
I'm telling you though, like, I actually think that their wedding was kind of beautiful.
It was sweet.
It was much different than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So congratulations to the new couple. All right, Andre and Libby. Her crappy family is still trying to find out why Andre left Moldova. And it's just so stupid. I'm so sick of Libby and her dumb family. Like, I can't. Like, they are so stupid.
Like, we've been off for 3 weeks, and this is
still going on.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
it's the same story. You guys haven't missed anything if you didn't watch it. Nothing
happened. Like, they still hate Andre. They're still trying to figure out, like, oh, he has a secret. Okay, his secret is he was in the police, and the police force is corrupt, and he left Moldova. That's a secret.
It's really not that hard.
It's really not that big of a deal. Why is that even a big deal?
When he finally explained it, I was like, I would have left Moldova too.
Right.
Like, that makes sense to me. I think that's a real thing.
Yeah. So anyways, he basically explains to her entire family, like, he was forced out of the police force in Moldova because of corruption. And I guess the police force there kind of works like a mob. And he had to flee basically for his life to Ireland, and that's where he met Libby. And Libby's upset, and she keeps saying things like, "Who knows, I want to marry you again." I'm like, Libby, you are so stupid. You're already married. Who cares? Like, at this point, like, who cares? Like, it's not even a white lie to me. Like, and I have a really hard time believing that she did not know about this.
No, me too. I think that she definitely knew.
Like, I feel like she's playing this up in front of her family to play the poor me card, and everyone to be on Libby's side.
And you're gonna tell me because I'm your wife.
And let's make Andre look bad because that's her card that she plays she plays in front of her family. Andre looks bad. In front of Andre, she plays, oh, it's my family. My family and my family. It's all my family. And I'm like, I'm just so over Libby. I can't even.
I'm happy that they came to like a conclusion though with that, because I was just like, okay, we're gonna move on.
Care.
But I am excited to watch next week because they showed like a little sneak peek, and the dad is trying to like not have
the brother talk at
the wedding. And he's like, Andre's like, don't hand him the microphone, and then he takes it, and then it cuts off there, and I was like, I just want to know. But you know what? Knowing TLC, it's going to be like, I'm so happy you guys are together. I love you guys so much.
You a brother.
You're my brother, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I know that's what it's really going to be.
Yeah.
But if
TLC
it's not,
is building it up.
if it's not, that is good TV, and I like that.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm so over the family. Like, they were so disrespectful and rude about being in Moldova and eating the food. They called it peasant food, and
they're just so rude.
They're just awful. And like Jen, Libby's sister, comes in and she's like, oh, it's dreary and awful, just how I would expect Moldova to be. Like, okay, go in there with go in there with that attitude. Have a great time.
To fuck her, because she needs like some kind of.
Doesn't she have a husband? Isn't she married?
I don't care. I'm telling you right now that she needs some good deep dicking in her life, because like in real life, I'm sorry, girl. It's like real. It's true. Like she needs that, because obviously there's something wrong with her. She is like she's more concerned about someone else's life already, even though she's already married.
She's just a snotty brat. That's all it is. And did you see like the thing circulating on like all the 90 pages? It's a mugshot because all of them have been arrested at some point. So it's like the family Libby. And it's like the dad with a mugshot, Jen with a mugshot, the brother with a mugshot, the other sister with a mugshot.
Oh my
and I'm
God.
like, yes, like this family, like, oh my God.
So
I
funny.
totally agree with you. And your mugshots are awful.
And your mugshots are awful.
Like seriously.
Where is your brow?
Where is your ring light?
Put some.
Where are your brows? Obviously,
where is your ring light?
Since you got on this TLC, like now we can see you can afford Botox.
Right.
And like
get your shit together.
You can have like your chin sucked out. Like, I don't know.
Too funny.
They're just they're seriously the worst. I cannot stand them. And I think they would be a lot more palatable if they weren't just so ignorant about other cultures. And they weren't just so like, well,
they had no interest
in America.
Like,
no, they didn't. They had no interest in the traditions in Moldova. They had no interest in the food. They had no interest in his family. They had no interest in anything. All they wanted to do was sabotage Andre. They were awful.
And again, we'll say it a million more times. They're already married. It doesn't matter if you sabotage them now. It's like already done.
So what are you doing? Just creating more problems.
And they've been married now for like what, 2 years?
Yeah.
Like
they have a baby. Like
he's not getting divorced.
Andre is not going anywhere. Like just stop. They're just so annoying. I have a feeling. I feel like their family is trying out to do a spinoff.
Oh yeah.
For TLC.
Yeah.
And I feel like
they saw Family Chantal and they were like, oh, if we do this, then we'll do it.
And I feel like a lot of this is orchestrated.
And I don't even watch that shit because I'm like,
well, Family Chantal is awful.
It's okay. I thought you were gonna say awesome.
No,
I hate it. I won't watch it.
They are the worst people. They are the worst ever. But like, I feel like that's what they're trying to do is like to get a spinoff. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you are no Darcy and Stacey.
Okay, but when we're done, we are going to talk about Darcy and Stacey for like 2 seconds. Just for like 2 seconds. Just for 2 seconds.
I love Darcy and Stacey.
I know, but we're going to talk about that for a second.
All right, so 90 day before the 90 day.
Before the 90 day.
So St. John and Tanya, they had like a huge fight in front of St. John's family because they're in South Africa right now, and basically it was a fight about how Tanya's like, I need St. John to change. Like, I want him to find a job. I need him to settle down. Like, I'm not even saying he has to pick like something he loves. I just want him to go out and try different jobs. Like, just do something. Do something. And that is about as far as I agree with Tanya and stuff. I agree that he should be trying to do something, but they have this huge fight in front of his family, and it's super awkward. And his family, you can tell, is like kind of like shocked that this is all going down in front of them. Like they're airing all their dirty laundry.
He even said before they left, like, let's like keep any of that stuff at home and come back to it. And she went right into it.
So this past episode, they're going to the winelands in South Africa with his family, and I wrote, they all look super happy. They don't. They look freaking miserable, especially Tanya. Tanya just looks like
she's having the worst
time ever. And like, you know what? Like, I love seeing Americans with the roles reversed, because St. John has been in America with your family where they're all on your side, and you get in fights and they see all your daily life and he has to deal with that. And now the situation is reversed and you're seeing, oh, hey, it's not that much fun, is it? It's not that much fun when you're not in your home country and you don't
have no friends.
You don't have your family to back you up. So I have very little pity for Tanya. So basically his family thinks that Tanya needs to insert her foot in her mouth, because they're like, you know, you have like high emotions and like you're okay with just like you're non-filtered, but St. John's a little more sensitive, and like so the things that you say, like, he really takes to heart, and it's really like, you know, can be damaging or whatever. And basically his family's just trying to, like, I feel like, act as like their therapist over there.
Yeah, well, they even say, like, if you guys are just going to keep on fighting, then you need to find out whether or not this relationship is worth it for you.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more. Like, I feel like they're in the situation where if you're going to continue doing the same shit you've been doing, then this isn't an actual relationship and you guys are both unhappy. You know,
because it seems like they just both want very, very different things, and she's expecting him to.
But he met her when she was very free spirited, and then they got married, and she's like, I want to settle down and have like a family and have like a, you know, like a relationship in the States, and that's it. And I was actually really upset when she said, I would rather raise my kids in the States, because I was like, I think that's like a little bit like something that if you're going to say that in front of his family, they're going to be offended by
well,
that.
yeah, I mean, it's condescending. Like, what, like,
not that it's wrong for you to want, you know, what we have in the States or whatever, versus if you just don't know.
I mean, I don't know, because it is like, it is kind of a rude thing to say.
It's super rude.
Family. Like,
it's super rude.
It's like, what, they didn't do a good job raising their kids, like,
right? Or that they like turned out fucked up in some kind of way. Like, that's not cool to say that.
Right. And like, depending on where you are in South Africa, I mean, I mean,
Johannesburg, Cape Town, those are great, really places. Nice areas.
And if they're going to the winelands, they're like right outside of like Cape Town. And so like, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. There's a whole thing to like unbox.
Either way,
there,
it's
but
not cool that she was like,
either way, maybe don't say that in front of his mom and dad.
I don't like that either.
Okay. So then later on, after they go to the winelands, they meet up with some of St. John's friends. And his friends have like no problem calling her out on all of
which
her
they should.
Shit. So they were basically like, why did you expect him to change so much once you got married, when you say that you saw these red flags from the beginning of the relationship?
And she does say that. And she says, she literally I see red flags left and right.
Right. And
now I recognize them.
Right. She was like, I saw red. Yes. And so can you blame his friends for being like, well, if you saw all these red flags, then why did you continue?
Your fault. Not ours. Not his.
Not his. So he was him from the beginning. He was himself from the beginning. It seems like she's the one that changed. Yep. And was expecting him to change too. And everyone knows. I mean, it's like that, like, this could be written in any piece of literature. It's like, you know, you can't expect somebody to just change once you're married.
Right.
You can't expect someone to just change. Like, they are who they are. And his friends are right. They were like, you know, who he was 10 years ago is definitely different than who he is today, but that was gradual change over a decade. Like, yeah, he might eventually calm down a little bit with old age. And
Change
like,
doesn't happen overnight, yo.
right, that's basically what he said. But anyway, so the friends call her out, and they argue again in front of his friends, and it's just like a super hot mess. And I wrote that she's always worried about what she needs in the relationship, but she's never worried about what he needs.
And he says that at one point.
Yeah.
He says, isn't it funny that we always talk about what you want
Yep.
and we don't talk about what I want?
Yes.
And on the flip side of the coin, though, to me, I'm like, well, how is she supposed to know what you want if you never express that?
Yeah.
So that's like a breakdown in communication between the two of them, because she's saying what she wants and he's feeling attacked. But if he goes, what I want is this and this and this, they might be able to come to some sort of.
But there's also just this really unrealistic set of expectations on her end, I feel.
No, I completely agree. But he can't say anything against that unless he makes it known what he wants from his relationship as well.
Yeah. All right, Paul and Craney. Paul sucks.
Yeah, Paul sucks.
That's
He's
what I
always
wrote down.
sucks. Yeah.
So, basically they're living in this this tiny little studio. At first, Craney seemed pretty happy with it, but I mean, it's so small for three
It's
people.
like a 1-bedroom.
It's literally a 1-bedroom. The kitchen's in there. The
It's like a
bathroom's in there.
Studio 1-bedroom. Maybe like
It's
600 square feet.
Like the size of your room.
Yeah, it's like literally.
Yeah. So, she keeps saying like, I'm giving you 2 months to find a job, and basically he's coming up to the end of those 2 months of finding a job, and she's at it with him. She's done with him. And so she goes to see like an immigration attorney, and to see like, okay, how am I allowed to bring Pierre back? Like, what kind of documentation do I need, and all of this stuff. And she tells Paul, like, after she gets back from the immigration attorney, she's like, I went to go see an immigration attorney because I'm not happy and I want to go back to Brazil. So, of course, it's poor me, woe is Paul. Paul is always the Paul is the victim of every situation and everything. So this kills me. He brings them to a sewage treatment facility.
Poo-poo water.
And he brings Craney and the baby. It's pouring rain outside. And he brings them to a sewage treatment facility. And his idea is, well, maybe I'll like pull some heartstrings of the guy who's giving us a tour. Maybe he'll offer me a job. Okay, not a terrible idea, but kind of terrible idea. But he like goes there and he's telling Craney like, oh, see, if we were in Brazil, like there's poo-poo water all over the place. And, and here the water is so clean, and this is how we treat the water. And I was like, he's so proud of America's deep water. Like,
he wears
bring her to Flint.
Let's just like flashback. Yeah, bring her to Flint. Exactly.
Bring her to Flint.
Let's just flashback.
I'm sure she'd prefer the poo-poo water.
And he's wearing like straight up like a human condom, like a fishnet or like a net human condom. Yeah. And then he actually wears a condom over his dick because he's afraid that like parasites are gonna swim up his urethra.
I mean, but that is the thing.
Sure. But people live there all the time.
But also, you're the woman that you're going to meet there. If she's swimming in a string bikini, and you're literally entering the water in a trash bag.
And he has to like get out of the water and like siphon it out because it's just like slowly but surely
drowning him.
He's in this giant like suit from head to toe, and it's like not straining the water fast enough, so it's just like he's in this giant.
It's ridiculous.
So stupid.
It's so ridiculous. So
she's all pissed off though because she's like, in Brazil you say, oh, we have poo-poo water. Like, shame on you for like saying that shit because you guys have poo-poo water too. You know what I mean? Like, and she's like, it smells bad. She's like gagging.
Yeah. She's at a sewage plant. Like,
she's like, let's go.
She is so pissed and so unimpressed. And like, why did you take me here? Like, you wanted me to be like, oh, the marvels of America. Oh, wondrous
Look at how
clean
great America is now.
no poo-poo water. And that is like, she is like pissed. And
Not at all impressed.
so, and they're touring this plant and it's outside. And she has this little baby and it's pouring rain.
Literally
Pouring
holding a
rain
child.
as they're touring this plant. I mean, he is so ignorant. I can't.
He's oblivious to life.
He is so
He
stupid.
relies on his parents for
I
everything.
can't even believe
He's just too much.
I
I can't.
can't believe he's like a person. Anyways, so he talks to her like a total idiot. In the end, they're like standing in a garage, I guess, at the treatment plant.
At the food plant.
At the poo-poo plant. And he agrees to go back to Brazil. So there's that. So he said, like, you're right, I can't find a job, so we're gonna spend every last dime we have to fly back to Brazil. And this makes Karini happy, rightfully so, because at least in Brazil she has a support system. She has a support system. In where she's at in Kentucky, they don't have. She has nothing.
Well, she had this idea that when she came to America, that she was going to be getting a whole other type of life,
family,
and it's like different. It's not the same.
She's very isolated.
She's isolated. There's nothing going on over here. His family isn't really like being supportive. She's living in this tiny little like 1-bedroom, just like she was in Brazil. And it's like, at that point, just send me back to where I feel comfortable.
Right. Like my living situation here has not improved at all. In fact, it's deteriorated since moving here. So I would rather.
You want to tell me that living in America is better than
I would rather be in Brazil, where I have my mom and I have my dad and I have
people to watch,
my family, like
anybody.
Duh.
Anybody.
Like, no brainer. Like, he didn't provide her a better life. Okay. Okay, so Submit and Jenny. Did I say that was before the 90 days? I was wrong. Okay, so before the 90 days, Submit and Jenny.
They basically are going to go talk to Submit is going to go talk to his parents about his relationship with Jenny. From there, I didn't really pick up on anything else that's really different.
So, well, it was interesting because we do see Submit's parents, and they explained that the first time Jenny came over, Jenny came and lived with them for 4 months because Submit said, okay, this is my friend from Facebook. She's always wanted to travel to India, so can she come stay with us? And they put her up in their house. And they didn't know that they had like a romantic relationship, but they found out that Submit had been like sneaking up to Jenny's room every night. And so the mom actually really liked Jenny, and like Submit was even saying like, my mom and Jenny had a really good relationship in those 4 months and everything was fine. But once they found out that they were having like a romantic relationship.
But he was also betrothed at that
time. No, he wasn't. No, it was before that.
Oh, that was after.
No, it was before that.
Damn, I didn't even know.
Yeah. So betrothed. What are you reading Shakespeare?
Yes. I am.
So anyway,
he was supposed to be married to somebody, right?
Afterwards, he gets married to somebody. So this is before that. So before that, she comes to visit the family under the guise that they're a friend, and they find out that they have a romantic relationship, and they kick her out, and she has to go back to the United States. And basically, their whole thing is she is too old to give us grandchildren. We want grandkids, and that's part of our cultural expectation. That's something we have always wanted. That's something we've expected from our son. And so we're not cool with the relationship. So she goes back to the United States. That's when they set up the arranged marriage for him and his
sad girl,
his wife. So anyways, he's going to go talk to his parents about Jenny and basically say, this is what makes me happy, and I'm done trying to live up to your cultural expectations, and live with it or don't. And I think it's really funny because Jenny was like, well, I hope you come back, like, because they have stormed last season. They stormed into their apartment and basically took Sumit away.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't even just her. It wasn't just his parents.
yeah, it was
also the parents of his wife.
Yeah.
Coming in and being like, you owe us.
You're in an
this-
arrangement. You're in a legal arrangement, and you owe us. You're married to our daughter.
So now he's paying $20,000 to get out. of
Yes.
that, and his parents have put up $10,000 of it, and he has to pay the rest. So I'm actually curious to see like how that goes out. He has a history of lying. And as much as I really want Jenny and Sumit to work, because I feel like they actually could, I feel like they actually genuinely love each other and care about each other. I'm also curious to see what happens with, you know, like the rest of it when it comes to him paying for the $10,000 and whether or not her parents, his ex-wife's parents, show up again. Because we already know leading into this that this is the mid-season finale, that this was the like tip of the iceberg, and everying after this is going to be
major drama.
the major drama.
So
so far they haven't had shit.
What worries me about this relationship, and just in general, if you're thinking about a 30-year age difference where she's in her 60s, he's in his 30s, like, has he thought about the long term? You know what I mean? Like,
About having to like
take
care
of her
and
and all of that. Like, I mean, really,
I don't think that he has, like, I feel like that's something that he has like thought about in general, but I think that people don't really know what to expect until that
it happens.
what happens.
I don't know.
And when he's in his 40s and she's in her 70s, even then she could still be pretty active.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you know, once you start getting
50s
into
and
your
80s
80s and stuff, and then he's in his 50s, like, this might be something that he's having a little bit of an issue with.
I mean, and then like she has no money.
Yeah,
Like
she
she
has
said, like, I gave up all my money, so like you're gonna be supporting both of you.
She would have been kind of okay had she stayed the first time, because she ended up having to spend a lot of money to go back,
and then go back again
and buy stuff to live off
Right.
of and live with her daughter and like all this stuff. You know, like, and now she's going back again. Like, that's thousands of dollars right there just in travel. So we'll see.
I don't know. I just don't feel like
curious.
I don't think it's like really thought out. I mean, it's endearing that they're going after their heart and their feelings, and they really seem like they're in love. But I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, is that what you want your life to be?
I don't know either. It's definitely
Are you thinking long term?
It's definitely something that I feel like he should.
And he's never really voiced anything about children, and he's never said I'm okay
though,
with not having children.
Because of that, I've wondered.
Ooh.
Because he hasn't said anything, and I feel like
Scandalous. Maybe that's a big plot
wondered
twist.
if maybe he does have kids, and he has to tell her that, or something along those lines. Because at this point, we haven't really seen much from them, or our next couple, I think, is Kenny and Armando. We haven't seen. No, it's not. But at some point, Kenny and Armando, we haven't seen much from those couples. And considering that this is like a mid-season break and we're already like however many episodes in, there's got to be something that is coming from that. There's got to be.
Hopefully.
Otherwise, TLC made a mistake.
Well, TLC makes mistakes. I mean, look at
you're absolutely right.
Marcel and what's her face from Iowa with the damn bees. The most boring freaking storyline and couple of all time. Okay, next couple, Jihoon and Devin. Mom is leaving. Thank God. That's it.
You know what though? I loved that Jihoon was like, she's leaving.
Yeah, he was like, yes. Okay.
I think that that's like a real thing. Like
I would be ecstatic if she was leaving too.
And
Because
if
in
that was my
reality,
mother-in-law, she is a hellion.
she is a lot.
She's the
She
worst.
is a lot. I can't.
Oh
with
my gosh,
her.
her metaphor when her and Devin go to get tea before she leaves, and she's like, I just feel like I see you on a train, and the train's taking off, and I know you're gonna cross a bridge, and there's gonna be an explosion, and I'm just there,
Like, how ominous.
and there's
Thanks,
nothing
Mom.
I can do about it. I can just watch the explosion. And I'm like, girl, calm down.
You're
Like,
literally
you
acting
are
like this
so
bitch is
much.
dead.
Like, first of all, not everything in the world is Jihoon's fault. First of all. Second of all, some of it is your own daughter's fault. Third of all, some of it is your own granddaughter's fault. Yeah, I said it.
We are, yeah. Come after me,
Come
not
after
after
me.
Lindsay.
Come after me now. I said it. But like, I mean, seriously, like, if you can't control her, how did you expect Jihoon to control her? Like, give me a break. Like,
And can I just reiterate really
he
quick?
is new at being a dad. He's new at all of this. So, like, could you give him a learning curve? A little bit of
Girl,
a learning curve?
I just have to reiterate really quick that when Drusilla ran off and they were like, Jihoon, get her, he bolted. He bolted and he went past the mom and he went
Yeah.
past Devin.
Yeah.
So
What
I'm
was
sorry.
What was he running towards? If you, well, like, what other reaction
I
did
feel
you
like
expect
that
him to
was
have?
completely fucked up that they were even like trying
To
put that
blame it
him.
on him.
I felt like he actually did as much as he possibly could. in that
Yes,
situation.
absolutely.
So, my bad.
What else
Sorry.
did you want him to do? He ran after her. What did you want him to do?
Yeah, I agree. He really
He
did,
wasn't
though.
listening. She wasn't listening to her mother. She wasn't listening to her grandmother, and he ran after her. What else do you want him to do? Anyways, I think that Devin's mom is the worst, and that the best chance of their relationship surviving is honestly her being gone.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
So I am interested to see where that goes. It looks like they were giving like some sneak peeks into the next half of the season. Stupid TLC. I bet they're doing this because of COVID. But they gave some sneak peeks, and Devin is like sitting at a table with Jihoon, and she's like, is there another woman, or like, have you cheated on me, or like whatever? And I'm just like,
you know what though? Like, why even ask that? Because if I was coming from another country, I'd be like, it's just not worth even asking.
I mean,
that.
yes, of course I would ask that.
I wouldn't.
Oh my God,
I
I
wouldn't.
would. Yes. Okay. But here's my thing though, too, is like, if I had any inkling of that, I wouldn't be moving there.
You're right. Sure. That's okay.
But yes,
So,
I would ask.
I
If
will
I
agree-
got
okay.
there and then I saw some red flags,
I'll agree
then
with you
I
on that.
then I would be like,
I'll agree
have
with
you
on
cheated
that.
on me?
I probably would have asked that before I left.
Yeah, but do you think he's
like-
gonna say yes? I
But
mean,
do you think he's gonna say yes even if you're there?
But he lied about his job previously. He lied
So
about
that's
all
what
this
I'm
other
saying
stuff
is that
previously.
even at this point, even if they like did talk and they were like, oh, blah blah blah, you know, like, did you cheat on me? How could you even trust that that's what he's saying is true?
Yeah.
So just like to me, I'm like, if I were to like, if I had any kind of inkling of that, I would be like, before I even fucking come there,
Well, yeah.
I want to know.
But like, I feel like if you didn't have that before you left, and then you got there, and then you started seeing those
You're
red
right.
flags,
You're right. She did.
I am a
You're right.
masochist where I would be like, I have to know, I have to hurt. Like I
Yeah,
have, like
you know what? I will. Okay, you know what?
I have to know.
I will agree with you on that because leading into this, it didn't seem like she had any kind of
No.
inclination that he was doing that. And
Yeah.
at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he said yes. But because they show it, like literally because they show it on the thing, I'm like, he's gonna be like, no, I haven't cheated on you. And it's gonna be like some stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, like I basically expect nothing and
Right.
hope for something.
Yeah,
Because I'm like
Yeah.
so into
Totally.
like I just love mess. I love trash
Yeah.
so much.
No, totally.
I want that to
Yeah.
be the difference, but in reality, I'm like,
but TLC
I expect that
TLC
nothing's
has
gonna come from
played with
that.
my heart so many times.
I mean, come on. I've been watching seasons on seasons on seasons of 90 Day Fiancé.
Yeah.
The Other Way, Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
Just Landed. What now? all these things, and every
usually it's
time-
not that bad.
No, it's usually just like not that bad.
Usually
I mean,
it's
even
not.
with the previews for this week, they were like, oh, you know, Colt is going to admit that he fucked Vanessa, and then we did. But I'm like, okay, Colt is gonna say, or maybe we didn't.
We skipped over Jess
We
and
skipped
Cole.
over Justin Cole.
We skipped over Jess
We're
and
going
Cole.
back. Sorry, guys, we're going back. But Colt is gonna admit that he slept with Jessica or Vanessa, and then he's talking to Jess, and he's like, I have something to say to you. And they go to the next episode, and then he's like, she's living in my house. It's like, that's not the worst thing you could tell her in reality, even though it was the worst thing you could tell her in reality. But you know, there's so much more to some of these stories that I'm just like, I feel like there's, you know, they build it up a lot. It's just built up.
Yeah, no, totally. So Ari and Binyam. So Ari's mom left to go back to America, so she's alone with Binyam. She basically immediately has like a meltdown and freak out, like that her mom has left, and she is now like, I feel like reality is just like slapping her in the face, like,
duh,
I'm here alone with this guy I hardly know, and in this country, and I hardly know, and I'm about to have a baby. So she's a jerk, in my opinion. So they get back to wherever they're staying, and he's got like this pink shower cap on, like it's like a little muffin top, and it's really funny. And I think he's doing it to like try to lighten the mood. Yeah. And he's like, what is he doing? He's like cleaning something. I don't know. And they're talking, and she's like, well, you know, I can leave. And he was like, well, why would you leave? Or he goes, no, you can't leave. And she goes, I can. And so I feel like she's now dangling that above his head, like, I'm going to leave at any second. If you mess up in any way, or if you don't,
I'm unhappy.
Right, if I'm unhappy in any way, I'm going to leave just like your ex-wife did, and I'm going to take the baby. And I just think that's like super messed up.
It is really messed up.
Like, he should not be like playing with him like that. Like, that is so wrong.
It's very evident that he wants to keep her there. Like, at first I was like, I don't know, you know, like his ex and all that stuff. But now I feel more and more like he loves her.
I feel like he's trying to be the most supportive partner that he absolutely can be. And I agree. She's freaking out. And I don't blame her. I'd be freaking out too. Duh. But at the same time, I would not make the same decisions that she was making.
No.
Like, they go see an apartment, and the apartment is $1,400 US a month. And the apartment's great. You know, it has hot water, there's Wi-Fi, there's all of the amenities that she wants and that she's used to.
That my mom wants too.
Right. That she's used to. And they get in the car after viewing this apartment, and he's like, okay, but we could also be living in the place that I've been like demoing for $60 US a month. Like 60 versus $1,400. That is a huge like that's huge. I mean, that's like, I can't even wrap my brain.
How much does he make?
He makes $500 a month. And that's 3 jobs. He works 3 jobs and he makes $500 a month. So unless, Ari, you and your rich family plan on paying for all those amenities, then what is the point?
Not really an option.
Right, not really an option. The man can't afford it. Like, he's giving you what he can afford, and he's doing the best he can. And like, why wasn't this something you freaking talked about beforehand?
Yeah, why didn't you guys like if you?
Why wasn't this a plan?
If you can have like a full-on conversation on a fucking like video, then he can take pictures or video or whatever and send it to you of the places he's looking at. It doesn't make any sense to me because I feel like he's like, I feel like he's trying really hard, and she's sitting there going like, nope, 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 nope. But if you're paying $60 a month and you're making $500 a month, he should be able to like put some money away pretty quickly for them to be able to like maybe go into like $120 a month, or like, and they can like start working towards that.
But I'm
But
like,
to go from 60 to 1400
is absurd. It's not even.
That's unheard
it's not
of.
a
You're not gonna be able to
possibility.
do that.
It's not a possibility.
That's like going from, you know, in America, $500 a month to fucking $6,000 a month.
It's
in
literally
rent.
U.S. dollars. It's $60 a month, U.S. dollars to $1,400.
If that's
US
what you want, Ari, then
Have
ask
your
your
rich
parents, send you some money
Paper.
every month, so that way you can make sure you have the amenities that you want.
I feel like this is just my little tidbit about Ari. I feel like Ari is one of those privileged white girls who wants to live the hippie life and wanted to travel the world, and she's so cool with these third world countries and like doing all these things. But when push comes to shove, you're not really ready to give up your privilege.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you don't really recognize how privileged you are.
Right.
And now it's all slapping you in the face and you're an idiot. And I don't feel sorry for you. And I'm actually kind of like obscenely grossed out at the fact that like she would think that this was like viable for her. Like, it's just like, do you have no self-reflection?
I completely
and
agree.
did you do no research about Ethiopia? And did you not have these conversations with your significant other in Ethiopia about setting up for a baby? Like, it's just like, I don't feel sorry for you at this point. Like, I'm just like, you are this gross, privileged, white chick from America, and I just stop. Like, just figure it out. Ask your daddy for the $1,400 a month from his cardiology practice, and
I completely agree with that.
And deal with it, because it's kind of gross, because you're always slamming him for like, you know, what he's doing, and he's literally working 3 jobs. That is like more than any 90-day person works. Like, he's working 3 jobs to try to support you and try to make you happy, and he's being like the most supportive partner in the world, and you're just treating him like trash. Like, I can leave. Like, good for you, then leave. Like, I don't know. But don't leave, because you're gonna hurt him, and that makes me sad. But like, it's just gross. Like, I just feel like the whole situation is gross. I don't like her.
We have 3 more couples. We're gonna make it really quick, I promise, guys.
Sheesh. Okay. Kenny and Armando. Literally, really nothing happens.
Yeah, they say goodbye to Kenny's kids, make sure that they get home safe and all that stuff. And then they kind of just like retouched on the fact that Armando had a little bit of an issue when they go to get tacos.
We didn't even talk about that. Yes, talk about that. Sorry.
They go to get tacos. Kenny at first is like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. And they're like, oh, you have to go to the bathroom here? His kids are like, you have to go to the bathroom here. And he's like, yeah, I have to go. So they go in, and
side note, Kenny is like a huge germaphobe.
Super germaphobe. And he goes in, and like the toilet's like fucked up, and then he has to like reach his hand into like with a bucket into a giant bucket of water and pour it down the toilet to flush it. And of course, like as a germaphobe, you're not going to be down for that shit. Nobody's down for that shit. And so he's having an issue with that. Anyway, they go outside. They're talking to each other. They're having a great time. Armando is starting to really like warm up to being affectionate. They're holding on to each other. They're really close. You know, they're having a good time together. They're not kissing and stuff, but they're like, you know, being flirtatious with each other. And as a customer is leaving, they say, oh, have a good night, and use a derogatory term against homosexuals in Spanish.
Towards Kenny and
Armando. I'm sure we can all figure out what it is. And it just makes
his girls cry.
Girls are upset. And Armando is upset.
Everyone's upset.
And you know what? I'm going to say right now that I love Kenny so much. And Kenny was just like, don't get upset. That's what they want. They
Yeah.
want you to be upset.
Yeah.
You know, like if we just ignore it, then we're just ignoring it. And
He
that,
really
you know,
knew the best way to handle it for his girls. Like he put on the strong face for his girls.
Exactly.
Because his girl, like,
but they were really
his
upset.
one daughter, like, wanted to go fight. And like, I was like, girl, I would be that girl where I was like, come say something to my dad. Like, I would have been the same way.
Same.
Like, I would have been like, I am getting into a street fight
Yep,
right
we're gonna
now.
have it
like,
right
we're
now.
scrapping. Like, I'm doing it. But like Kenny handled it in like the best way. Like, he was like, that's what they want. They want a response from us. Just don't even breathe any life into it, basically, you know?
And I thought that was the best way that
Oh
they
my God,
could handle
absolutely,
that.
100%.
Absolutely.
Because, and that's like what Armando even said. He was like, and then what happens? Like, then a fight,
We're gonna get
and
in
then
a fight,
what?
you know?
And then what? Like,
And that's the thing, is that it's like, it's
you
not
don't
worth
know
it.
how crazy people are.
It
Like,
sucks that they're in a situation where they have to deal with that. However,
I mean,
like,
that could have been in America, though.
that could have been America, exactly. Like
I hate to say it and be like, oh, you know, like, obviously Mexico, like, there's definitely more of that, like, macho man, like, culture, but I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, that would have happened, and I could name like
anywhere,
a million towns right in
Anywhere.
America that
exactly.
would happen.
I could name cities.
like, which is disgusting. Like,
so it's terrible to know that that's a real thing, but at the same time,
well, what's
like,
interesting though too is, like, sorry to cut you
No,
off,
go
but
ahead.
like, what's interesting though too is, like, his daughters said like they had never experienced anything like that where they were living in Florida. So their entire life,
which is weird.
their
because
entire-
Florida.
yeah, but like maybe they were in like a super progressive,
They might have been,
like
yeah.
super gay friendly like area. But they said like growing up with our dad, like we had never experienced like anything like that. And I just find that like really surprising, like growing up with a single gay dad, like that they had never seen anything like
Well,
that.
I grew up with a similar situation. I won't like get into, you know, the specifics of it, but I grew up with like a similar situation in my family where someone in my family was gay, and I would have issues. It was happened to be a female, and I would have issues with like girls in my school didn't want to stay the night because they were like, oh, you know, your mom or your sister or like whoever in your family is going to like, you know, hit on me. And I'm sitting there going like, there's a difference between pedophilia and being a lesbian. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the same thing.
Well,
They're
yeah,
not synonymous.
and just because I'm gay doesn't mean I'm attracted to every
And even if it was me,
other
even
gender,
if I was like I'm gay, I'm not inviting you over so I can like hang out with you and fondle you. I'm inviting you over
wait,
because
you're not. I'm bummed.
Damn, dude.
I'm not spending the night.
Well, now I'm going to. I'm inviting you over because I want to be your friend and I care about you and you know, like,
Well, yeah, we're kids. We're hanging out. We're having
it
fun.
doesn't
Like, it has
automatically
nothing to
mean
do with
something
that.
sexual. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make
you
any
know?
sense at all. Like, it reminds me of Mean Girls.
It's so Mean Girls.
Like, it's so Mean Girls.
I completely.
So anyways, it was a heartbreaking scene. Like, it was really upsetting to see that scene. So his girls leave, they go back to Florida, and where we left off was Kenny and Armando are packing up their car and they're getting ready to go see Armando's parents and pick up Hannah, Armando's daughter. And the teaser kind of left off with we don't know if Armando's dad is even going to come out.
He's worried about his
and
dad.
see Kenny
Mhm.
because he's just not okay with the relationship. All right, so we're gonna backtrack real quick. This is our last one. So happily ever after. God, I hate ending on this one. Oh my God, Jess.
We're not going to because I'm going to talk about Darcy and Stacey for a
perfect.
second.
Okay, so Jess and Colt.
Girl, I have so much to say
So
about this.
Jess, Colt invites Jess to Las Vegas, and it's so funny because like TLC put like within an hour of Jess arriving, they're fighting, and Colt is like, before she arrives, he's like, I need to come clean to Jess. I need to let her know about things and blah, 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 blah. And the things that he needs to let her know about is he's been sending pictures of his manhood
Can I just say really quick? I
Two.
saw them.
Ew.
I saw them.
Why?
Because
Why?
listen, I joined like a 90-day fiancé group or whatever, and this girl was just
Facebook didn't flag
like,
that.
no, hold on. So she was just like, anybody want to see this shit?
You are. What is
No,
wrong with
listen.
you?
She goes, anybody want to see this shit? Message me on Facebook. I did not. I didn't. I went on to a Reddit account and I was like, okay, I'm going to like go onto Reddit and see if anyone's talking about this. And sure shit on Reddit, somebody posted the video.
You don't go on Reddit unless you want to know
the video
the most disgusting
and
details.
the pictures. And it's a very small problem. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's Jessica, Jess. It's a very small problem.
Jess.
Don't worry.
Well,
it's okay.
She already knows.
It's okay, girl.
She already knows.
That's a small problem. You need to get on to a bigger problem. Okay? It's a small problem.
So he's
Skip it over.
I'm gonna die. Okay, so he's
I'll show you the
sending.
picture.
I don't want. I'm gonna kill you. I'm going to kill you. If that image is burned into my brain,
It will be.
I don't want it. Stop. Okay. So, anyways, Cole sends pictures to women, eight other women apparently, and also he needs to tell her that Vanessa, the one that she freaked out about, that just freaked out about in Brazil, Vanessa's actually living with Colty and Debbie. So, Colt basically spills the beans and tells her everything. He's like, I'm sorry, I've been a really bad boyfriend. And she's just like, Colt, you must have a really big heart. You love all these women.
Why you always lie for me? I need to know why you lie for me. Jessica, you are better off, girl.
God, yeah,
You got a fat ass. You're beautiful. And seriously,
You're young.
You're young.
You're hot.
She's already on to somebody else. We already
she
know
is.
it.
We
yeah,
do
she's
know.
on. We do
She
know
is
that. She's on to
actually
somebody
on
else,
to
and
someone
I'm.
And he's much
way
better
better.
looking.
Yeah, and he has a much bigger problem, I'm sure. It doesn't get much smaller of a problem.
So, anyways, so Cole and her are having this fight, and Debbie is like lurking upstairs, like trying to eavesdrop.
I just need to know what's going on.
And so she comes down the stairs, and
what's
Jess,
going on down here?
yeah, and Jess like is like, woman to woman, like you would understand. And Debbie's like trying to console her, and I'm like, you manipulative little lying
bitch.
weasel. Like you do not give a flying F about Jess's feelings or any. You're like happy, like she should be like popping champagne bottles. Like that's really what should be happening. But anyways, she's like consoling her and hugging her, and she's like, I know. And then it just ends up in Colt's like, I'm sorry, it was a bad boyfriend. And then Jess goes and she meets up with Larissa, and they're like just like spilling tea about Colty and just like relishing in the fact that they're both over that relationship, and that's basically it. That's how it ends.
Yep, that's how it is.
So I can't wait till 90 Days starts back up again in October 11th. It's like a whole month.
I know, but you know what? In the meantime, we're going to be talking about Darcy and Stacey, which we both love a lot. And that's something I want to talk about right now because I actually have been enjoying watching it. I didn't think I would. I wasn't trying to watch it at first. I actually kind of like it. I love Darcy.
I love Darcy.
I do. I love Darcy.
There's something so endearing about her.
I'm excited to watch her go on to her new journey. Whether it's a shit show or it actually works out, I don't know. As of right now,
Stacey's dude, what's his name?
Florian,
he's the worst.
It kind of sucks.
He's legitimately the worst.
Seems like maybe he's cheated on her or cheated on her.
Oh, he definitely has.
I think so too. We're going to get more into that and we will talk more about that, but I just want to make sure that we let you guys know that Darcy and Stacey will be a thing in the future, even if it's just me or it's just her or something like that. We will talk about Darcy and Stacey.
Well, especially since 90 Days going on a break.
90 Days going on a break. We are also going to be talking about, now that we've gotten into some character development and everything, into Love After Lockup. We'll start talking about that too.
Yeah, especially
And-
since we're on a hiatus with 90 Day.
Exactly. And now Lindsay has gotten me into watching The Real Housewives. So now I'm going to catch up. I'm going to catch up over the next week, and we're going to start talking about some Real Housewives drama, which I love. And if you guys ever want us to talk about something else, if you want to watch something, if you want us to talk about something.
Can I add something?
Yes.
If we're able to get in the studio with Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave. We want to watch you.
We want to do Epstein.
We do want to do Epstein. We've been talking about doing Epstein. We would love to do Epstein with you
Epstein
guys.
take 2.
Take 2.
Only for the people that know.
So if you guys want us to watch something, then we would love to watch it. Please send us a message. Let us know what you guys are watching. Comment on our Facebook. Comment on our Facebook posts, just on our regular pages. Lauren Walker, Lindsay. Just message us. Let us know what you're watching, what you are interested in talking about. We want to talk about it too. We will be doing the Epstein episode again. The first time it ended up not being okay. Like, we just don't want to, we didn't like how it was going. So we're going to do it again.
That's a nice way of saying that.
We didn't like how it was going. We're going to do it again. So come watch us. We will put it out there. We're also going to start recording some stuff for our Patreon. So if you guys want to start like logging on and getting subscribed with us, we'll make it a thing. You can get extra content for watching us. And we love you guys so much. And thank you so much for like coming back after 3 weeks of us not being on. We appreciate it. She started work again. I'm doing my own thing, and we're trying to figure it out. And we will figure it out for you guys. We'll let you know when exactly everything will be going on.
Because we actually love doing that.
We love it. We love you, and we
Yeah.
love doing our thing, and we don't want to give it up. So please let us know. We want to know what's going on, and
what you want us to
stuff
talk
that
about.
you want us to like talk about. It doesn't have to be trash. It can be trending. It doesn't have to be trending. It can be trash. So let us know. And let's make sure that everyone goes on to our Facebook and likes it so you can follow us. And we also have an Instagram, and I think it's Trash Pandas Podcast. So, and I'll change it if that's not what it is. But we love you so much. Thank you so much for coming back on. And we're excited to talk to you guys next week. Hopefully from a studio. That would be amazing.
Fingers crossed.
We love you. Thank you so much for watching.
Bye.
Bye.